So I guess we'll just jump right into it.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
Cameron, what were your initial thoughts just arriving to LVO?
Arriving at LVO, we had a small caravan of the House
I
of Hobbies
yeah,
people.
I heard.
Yeah, we were all scrunched up like sardines going in, talking Warhammer, and we had just finished painting a majority of two armies in 2 weeks, and we were ready to get it going and get it finished.
And then you went to LVO last year, but you did doubles only, right? So this was your first AOS champs.
Yeah, it's the first one where I did the singles tournament. I only did the teams one where you had three people.
Oh,
Um,
teams. That's what it was.
Yeah, it wasn't 2v2, it was like three people, and then you gotta fight, you chose who to fight on the opposite team.
So did you? Was it still 2,000 points? It just was teams based.
No, it was 1250 if I remember
Oh, okay.
correctly.
Kind of a weird number, but all right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then you guys got in on Thursday, right? Like Thursday evening.
Yeah, we got in Thursday, and we decided to see the sights around Vegas, since it's like one time a year that we get to go to Vegas.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. We got Cameron and the wifey on the screen here.
Yeah, I gotta take the wife.
Yep, I'm with you. We gotta get Autumn in these champs. That's what she needs to play. What's the cheesiest army?
She says she wants to play Giants because it's the easiest one.
Boom!
I
There
don't
you
know
go.
about
There you go. I think that's doable. I got some giants you can use. All right. Let's jump
that.
into your list. Um, Walk me through this because I know you had 3 or 4 lists you were working through when you were picking
So
this.
Yeah, so I wanted to do monster trucks because I did not want to do the artillery. I see the artillery there. I was like, man, I want to have a fun experience with
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the with the person I'm going against, and shooting them off the board straight off the back doesn't seem too good. So I'm just going to run them off the board with charges instead.
yeah. And I know you're play testing. We played a couple games, and those monster trucks are no joke. It's funny because one of the matches you did play, and we'll get to that later, it is a shooting ogre's army. So I guess monster trucks are better.
Yeah, we have proven that monster trucks are superior to gun ogres.
Yes.
Very, very barely, but they are slightly better.
Would you change anything about your list now that you've gone through it? I mean, I know you went pretty far in the tournament, but would you change anything?
There was one going through it at the end of the tournament. I think there was only one thing I actually wanted to change, and that was, it's something very, very minor. Changing the mount traits between my two heroes that are on the stone horns, because going through Metal Cruncher, the D6 mortal wounds at the beginning of combat, is super good, but it only affects a 3-up save, and I fought one creature in the entire tournament that could actually be affected by Metal Cruncher.
Interesting. I mean, that's the problem with LVO and it being so large, right? You can't really prepare yourself on who you're gonna play. Like, I had no idea I was gonna play 3 Nurgle armies, right? Like, that's terrible for me. But you just don't know. So I mean, I guess in hindsight, you just don't know what to run. But in your circumstance, it might have been better to run a different to swap them.
Yeah, if I knew what I was going to be fighting, I would have swapped them, but just being able to make it so my general is just barely slightly more annoying to kill, I think would have been a big one.
Yeah, I agree. And then obviously the Nobbler, right?
Yeah, I gotta get them Noblars.
Oh, those Nobblers, man. I know they went up in points and everyone hated it, but they're worth it. Those Nobblers are real good.
When they did the points changes, I think the only thing I had to do, and the thing that made me sad, is I used to have two Noblars running my list because I believe the double screen is just really good against other ogre lists like Iron Jaws and other Alpha Strike lists.
Mm-hmm.
But because they went up 20 points, I was just barely
Yeah.
unable to get to change anything. But with that change, I made my Huskard onto a Stonehorn, and I matched exactly. all the way down to 2,000 points.
Yep. Yeah, I mean that's good. And then you also changed. I know you went from because I think you did do bounty hunters, but you switched to
Yes.
battle regiment, which I think helped you, right?
Yes, being a 2-drop really, really helped, especially with a lot of turn orders, being able to pick things. I think almost everybody except 2 people I fought were 2-drops.
Mm.
And so it came up to play in, 4 out of 6 games.
Yeah, yeah.
And bounty hunters, I think, would have come up in, 1 game.
Yeah. Rest in peace, bounty hunters. Never again.
Oh, agreed.
Never.
I'm done with bounty hunters.
Yeah, never again. 14 drops of permanency. There you go.
Nope. You either have to go 20-drop or 2-drop.
Yeah, for real. All right. Let's move on to round 1. So this is funny. You fought giants, and I'll let you go through the match, but I do know you got some matches in against giants. You kind of knew you were kind of prepared for this matchup because funny enough, I did run giants against you before the tournament, and it was roughly kind of the same lists. But yeah, you were already prepared for this. So going into this, what were your thoughts?
So this would be the 3rd time I would fight giants with the ogre list, and each time I fight them, it's either incredibly I hit them hard and things fall off really, really quickly, or they begin sumo wrestling me and then everything dies really fast.
Yeah, yeah.
But for this fight, it was actually going into the fight itself. I find that most giant lists that I fight are roughly the same going through. We have King Broad. We have they actually took a Kraken Eater, which this is I think the
That's
first time
weird.
I've ever actually fought.
Yeah, same here. I don't see it. We don't see it much.
And then we had 2 of the War Stoppers, and it was the Idols list where you had to choose 3, and he chose everybody but his general, and then I chose my 2 heroes on Stonehorns and another Stonehorn.
Got it. Okay. All right. So you were pretty calm about this match then. You weren't super nervous about this one.
No,
Yeah.
Especially being a 2-drop. It was actually fighting giants that actually got me to choose to be the 2-drop, so I can usually drop giants and force them to go first.
Okay. So we'll get into the match here. Just if you just want to walk us through kind of how the match went.
So, how this match went is we set up. I made it so that the only thing that he could charge into the first turn was just Noblars, which a worthy sacrifice. They did their job, dying in the hands of the first turn.
It's pretty typical for Noblars.
Yep, I forced him to go first, and with that, he had to split up all of his giant forces to get the objectives. And he sent his general out way off by himself, and then King Broad off into another corner, and then the 2 War Stoppers were right in the center of the field. And he wasn't able to do anything. He missed his range. He couldn't do his range attack because he had to run his general, which was the Kraken Eater. And from there, it was just all downhill for him. I played you, Joel, and I know that you have a Joel role.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Yep.
But by the end of my turn of the first round, his general, which had 40 wounds on him, now only had 2 wounds on him.
Oh wow!
And another giant only had 1 wound on him.
And that was the end of first turn.
That was the end of first turn.
Oh my goodness! That's so many mortal wounds.
It wasn't even mortal wounds. It was just fighting with Stonehorns, and he just couldn't make any saves. He couldn't make any wards. He failed the sumo, my guys. He failed all of his monstrous actions.
Who ended up taking first turn? Was it? Did you say it was you?
I forced him to go first.
Oh, you forced him. Okay, forced him to go first. Okay.
And when it came down to the second round, his general and the other giant died from vultures. And then I charged with the Frost Lord, and I did 35 wounds in 1 attack against another giant, killed him.
Yeah, that'll do it. I mean, when you lose 2 giants in a round, that's rough because then you're not playing with a whole lot after that.
Yeah, because he ended the first turn with 2 of his giants wounded, and he ended the second turn because I went first, second turn, and all he had left on the field was King Broad.
Nice. Okay. I mean
It
that.
was
Yeah.
off in the corner.
Yep. Okay. Uh, and then so I mean that was an obvious victory for you. After that first match, I imagine you were still pretty comfortable about going into round two.
Yeah. What it was telling everybody beforehand is the things I did not want to fight in the tournament were giants and ogres, and the first round was giants, and I'm glad that I got that out of the way.
Yeah.
I really didn't want to say that.
All right. We'll go into round two. My favorite army, and I think a lot of people's favorite army, especially now.
Oh, I loved this army, and I loved playing this guy.
Yes.
It was just non-stop squid herd all across the board. Just squigs, squigs, and more squigs.
Yeah.
We had some truffle snufflers to go ahead and boost those squigs, and then we had Kragnos to make sure those squigs could get in.
Yeah, and it was funny because I ended up playing right next to you on this match, and I was, as much as I was rooting for you, Cameron, there was a side of me that wanted to get.
You have to go squigs. That's the way to go.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
All right, so what were you thinking about? Because I don't think you've ever. I mean, you haven't played a whole lot of gits in this season. I don't think. How were you feeling about this match? Before going into
I think
it.
this is actually the first time I've ever played Gits.
Well, there you go. So you didn't really know what to expect. I mean, we know Kragnos, right? You knew about that.
Yeah, I knew what they did, but I've looked at the tome. I've heard you fighting those trolls. There we go. I have fought trolls before.
Yeah, you fought me with Trogs. Yep.
Yeah, but never squigs. And oh man, I love squigs.
Yeah, agreed. They're only going to get better, too.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go into the match. So, walk me through this match.
So, he was a 2-drop as well, and he forced me to go. He forced me to set up the terrain so he can go first, and so he wanted to do the exact same thing that I usually do: is force your opponent to go first to get closer, and then charge everything in.
Yep.
Which would have worked too, except I had my good old dandy Noblars, and just I moved barely in range to be able to get the objective, and then just made a screen of Noblars the entire way. And then from right there, I just put all of my monster trucks right behind, and from there, just made a screen and hoped I could survive their charge.
So what happened with Kragnos? Because that one can do some damage to your army.
Yes. What happened was he charged 20 squigs in. He made it in. And then he left just enough room for Kragnos to go in. Kragnos rushes in, gets in. He does 6 damage on his charge.
Oh, it's rough. It's rough.
And so 6 Noblars die. And I was like, okay, that's it. And then all the other squigs actually failed their charge to be able to get in. So it was only 20 squigs and Kragnos versus a small screen of Noblars, and then I had a Thunder Tusk and 2 Stonehorns right behind them.
Nice. Okay. All right.
He went in and he tried to roar me, failed that, and then I was able to roar him, and he attacked the Thunder Tusk, and with that -1 to hit, and I did an all-out defense with him, he only did 6 damage to the Thunder Tusk.
Nice. Well, that'll do it. That'll do it.
Yeah, by the end of his turn, he attacked with the Squigs, attacked with Kragnos, and then all that was left I had the Thunder Tusk, Stonehorn into Kragnos, managed to kill him, and then another Stonehorn into the Squigs, and after that there was only like 8 Squigs left after. But I had already cracked down to Kragnos, already killed him, and then all my other Stonehorns and everything was just free to go.
And what round was this?
That was the end of round 1.
Wow, there's a lot of action in round 1. That's crazy.
Yeah, we went in and immediately just smashed into each other round 1.
And I think I was watching a little bit of this while I was playing. You guys ended the game early, right? Like, I think it got to a point where he just couldn't do much.
Yeah, what ended up happening is we went to round 2. I won the roll-off, and I was able to rush all of my Stonehorns forward, killing 2 groups of Squigs and then taking his objective, and then vulturing his generals where he only had, I think, 2 wounds at the time. We went to his turn, and then he tried to do I forget what it's called, where whenever you bring the Squigs back to life at the end of your turn.
Oh yeah, resing him from the moon train.
Yeah,
Yep.
and he had his command trait was he had 2 chances to do it instead of 1.
Oh, okay.
And so he went to go ahead and do that. He thought it was at the very beginning of the turn instead of the end of the turn. And when that happened, he just rolled it, failed the first time, failed the second time, and then shook my hand and said, "All right, yeah."
That's the aim. Yeah. At some point, there's just not much you can do at that point.
Yeah, it was. If I had my turn, I was just going to vulture his general off the field, and the Squigs weren't able to do anything. All of them were stuck in the combat or dead.
Yeah. If you can,
2 truffle people, but that was
it. If you can pen them, they can't really do much, especially in the old book. So that makes sense. So I guess post match, you're probably looking 2-0, kind of breezing through the first 2 matches. So I assume that it was all good in Cameron's world at this point.
Yeah, from there, all of my matches had ended by like round 3. We were doing just a series of bad rolls where my opponents had caused to where like Kragnos, his main threat, died first turn. He couldn't bring back his reinforcements, and so I was having a real good time with my luck.
That's good. That's good. All right, so let's go into round 3. Oh, this is foreshadowing for future, but sort of the same list that you fought in the later rounds. But walk me through what you were thinking when you saw this list.
So, what I've learned with all the other times that I've fought Tzeentch is that if I'm able to get to their backline and be able to kill their heroes straight from the beginning, then usually their entire list falls down very fast.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then I saw the Incarnate, and I was like, all right, that's probably going to kill everything. So I just need to try to kill whoever it's connected to, and then go from there. Which ended up in a very, very fun play in the middle of this match.
I was gonna say, when you see the Incarnate playing a monster truck list, that's got to be worrisome.
Oh yeah, Incarnates is like the bane of my list.
Yeah, I would imagine so. And I think in future, I think that actually probably was the case. But let's go into the actual match. So walk me through this match, because I think you ended this game somewhat early as well.
Yeah, I think it was the first turn was the longest turn, and then everything else went pretty quickly. We were setting up. We had some kangaroo jerky from Coach, who was sitting right next to us.
Nice.
And what ended up happening was I had him set up terrain so I could choose who goes first. And I set up for a just monster truck rush in first turn to be able to hit him and try to kill all the spellcasters. Because as soon as they start casting spells and summoning, then it just goes downhill from there.
So going back just real quick, because the only reason I say this is my in-laws went to Australia and got kangaroo jerky. Did you say you actually tried it?
Yes, he gave me some, and I really like it. I'm gonna have to, whenever my friends come back from Australia, I'm gonna have to.
I got some for you. I don't even think we've opened our package yet. I don't know. It feels weird eating kangaroo. Does anyone else think that? It just feels weird eating kangaroo.
No, it's delicious.
Is it? Does it? I guess I gotta try it. I gotta take your word for it and try it because I definitely have some on the counter from when my in-laws went to do their cruise in Australia or
All
New
right.
Zealand. So
Next game at your house, I'm going to eat some kangaroo.
we got it. That's so funny that that you had some there. I didn't even know that. All right. So anyway, going back into the match. Sorry, totally side tangent, but I just thought it was so super funny. All right. So first round, trying to get back into his back line to get the heroes.
Yeah. So what ended up happening was I was able to get the Stonehorn Huskard into some acolytes that were protecting a corner objective. I was able to get the Frost Lord directly into the center of their main castle line, and then I was also able to get another Stone Horde into the main castle line. But one of the biggest ones is with the Vultures and the Thunder Tusk Aura, I was able to snipe off his general, which also had the Incarnate on it.
And who was it? What was his general? It was the Magister. Okay.
Yeah, so first turn was able to kill the Magister, and it comes up that he placed his Incarnate right next to Kairos.
Oh, that's
So
a bummer.
straight from the beginning, Kairos and Incarnate were going to be dancing from each other for pretty much until one of them was going to die.
I can almost guarantee you that who was the person you were playing? What was his name? I can almost guarantee you that he will learn from this mistake. You always want to try to keep Kairos or the Incarnate outside.
Yeah, 3 inches away.
Yep.
It's so important.
Yes, because then you get in trouble with him fighting everything else. So, who was this? This was I have the list here. Hold on. This was hold on. Dalton. It looks like Dalton. Sounds right. So I'm sure that he will remember that and not make that mistake going forward because that can definitely throw your game for sure. I've been in that position where I've set up the Kron Spine close and when it dies when your general dies and it goes into anything that's around it, it can really just ruin your game for sure.
Yeah, and from the first turn, it was I managed to kill everything but Kairos, the Incarnate, and a set of Screamers that were off in the corner, and a caster that was on a disc. I can't remember which one it was.
It was God Summoner? No, Fluxmaster.
No. Yeah, the Fluxmaster.
Yeah.
The Fluxmaster survived because he uses Fate points to be able to auto-pass all of my attacks that were in it.
Okay.
When it came down to his turn, he was stuck with Kairos, but he managed to be able to move the Incarnate to be able to hit my Frost Lord. I was still in combat there. And he couldn't leave with the Fluxmaster because he was in the aura of the Incarnate as well.
The no retreating, got it. Okay. And then yep, go for it.
Then from that round forward, all it was Kairos and the Incarnate were stuck together for as long as possible, damaging each other and doing nothing. And it was me taking the back line, fighting off the Screamers, and eventually the Thunder Tusk and my Butcher had to move forward to fight the Screamer and the Fluxmaster. And every single one of his turns, he would move the Incarnate and then kill an Ogre.
So from the get-go, did you, just from a tactics perspective, right? Did you notice that the Incarnate was close, and was that your goals to get him into? Because I mean that's some top level play, right? To figure out, can I kill the general to move Kronspine into the rest of his army? Was that part of the thought process, or just to happen that way?
If I can get the Incarnate to be in my opponent's models instead of mine, that's another round that my Stonehorn survive.
Fair, totally fair.
They can almost reliably kill one per turn.
Yep.
And so my mistake was putting the Frostlord just too close, barely too close. to snipe it off. But still, he controlled one objective for like 2 to 3 turns because he was just stuck there fighting Kairos.
Got it. Okay. All right. And then at what point did you guys go all the way to round 5, or did you guys end early?
We went to round 5 because he could still do some tactics that were from the Zinch book itself. And so he managed to get, I think, all of his tactics except
Wow.
one. I prevented him from killing the Thunder Tusk for 1 turn.
Okay.
But other than that, he managed to get all of the tactics there.
Wow, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right, so then round 3. So finish that. End of day 1 thoughts. Like, what were your thoughts going 3-0 at the end of day 1?
Oh man, I was exhausted.
Yeah.
Playing with everything there, it's just it's a massive test, like just endurance doing everything. Like I play a lot of single tournaments, but knowing that tomorrow morning early I'm going to have to go in and do all of this again, it was tiring, but it was still fun.
Yep. All right, well then we'll go into day 2, round 4. Good old Jeremy. I only know Jeremy from playing KO. I haven't seen him play Holdout Cities. I know he plays it, but I know him mostly from playing KO, just from some of the stuff I've seen. So him playing Cities, Jeremy is a no joke player. He is a very smart player.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, and knowing that you were going up against this was going to be a hard fought match, I would assume. So walk me through what you saw when you saw this list, because I know you also have played Cities in a different, kind of a different theme, but I think you know Cities somewhat, right?
Yeah, I knew exactly what this list was for. It was just a whole bunch of Phoenix guards and Phoenixes preventing you from being able to hit with their penalties to wound. Everyone has a ward of some sort. Most of them are 4-up wards, the entire army.
Wow.
And it's a bunch of small units where if you kill any one of them, all of the entire army gets a +1 hit, +1 wound buff.
Wow. Okay.
So if you go in there and you do manage to beat that 4-up ward going through everything, then you're going to be punished for the rest of that entire combat phase.
Wow. Okay. So when you looked at this list, what were your thoughts? Were you worried about it?
What I was worried about was the Phoenixes. Those Phoenixes, especially since you had 2 of them, they just have this massive debuff area. They have their command trait to be able to make it so everyone can fight on death, and they have so much synergy buffing everything there.
So was that your main focus? Was the anointed, or what was your thought process? What was this? This is Realmstone Cash, so you want to get something in the middle early, right? But what was your target? Were you just kind of determined on what he placed his units at?
The ultimate target was the Hurricaneum in the back, because that can be it's a big buffer with a +1 to hit, and it can do mortal wounds, which if left unchecked can just do massive damage.
Wow, okay.
And past that, it is the Anointed on Phoenixes, because they are the ones that give a majority of the buffs to the army.
Okay. This is one army that I don't know much about. I don't think I ever played you when you played your what are those shooting things? The Sisters? I don't think I ever played you with that, for good reason. Playing that Cities army.
The basis of the army is everything's a 4-up save or better. And it's mostly just a 4-up save and then the all-out defense and whatever you can. And Phoenixes are really, really durable. They have a 4-up save that can be buffed just by casting near them and all-out defense.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that, yeah.
And all of them have a 4-up ward.
Yeah. Okay, so it's a pretty tanky army. It can still be pretty tanky then. Let's actually go into the match. So walk me through this one.
So with this, I forced him to go first because the biggest weakness of my army is I had no GBs.
Yeah, yep. I made this mistake in my game for sure, so it makes sense.
So I wanted to be able to take that home objective the first turn I could. He moved some flagellants on it, and then he had to. He played very, very defensively with all of his phoenixes and all of his phoenix guard, to where when it was my turn, all I could do was I killed the flagellants, and then I went in and I tried to go after the phoenix, which it just made to my mistake where if you kill something, everything gets buffed for the rest of that turn, the rest of that phase.
Oh,
So
okay.
I killed the flagellants because I decided to fight close to them, and then all of his other units for the rest of that phase just had +1 to hit, +1 to fight on death.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's a pretty good buff.
Yeah, and my main goal for that was to make it so that I would damage the phoenix as much as possible, and I was able to bring it down to 1 health.
Okay. We call that at the first season war, we call that a carling. You carled the what was it, the one of the phoenixes?
Yeah, one
Yep.
phoenix unannoyed it.
Yep.
And I kept on trying to kill. Another thing that he does is he sets up the assassins that are there, and it's just a trap to be able to try to get you to attack them, because oh, it's an assassin, it's very, very weak. You kill it, oh, everyone has +1 to hit.
Wow. Okay. Okay. That's a cool buff. I like that buff. All right. Well, walk me through the next couple rounds.
After that, I believe he won priority the next round, and he was really torn on what he should have done. Because he was in a situation where if he went first, he could possibly kill a Stonehorn, but it would give me a chance to get a lot of people in.
Okay.
And what ended up happening is he decided to go first, even though he was stuck in a corner. He was able to string out a bunch of Phoenix Guard all the way up to the front, but it was still not able to take the objective from me. And by the end of the turn, he had 1 Phoenix tying up to a Stone Guard and a Thunder Tusk, and then he killed 1 Stone Guard and then tied up another one.
Okay.
So he had a majority of my army just stuck in place for a good bit.
I mean, that's kind of the goal with his army, right? It's just because he can be pretty tanky. Yeah.
And when it eventually came to my turn, he wasn't able to. I still owned the center objective, but with the ogres, the vultures, always the MVP of every single game I play with them.
Yeah.
I was able to vulture kill one of the phoenixes, and then vulture down and almost kill another one of the phoenixes.
And what the vulture's it's on a 2-up, right? 2-up, 1 mortal.
Yep, on a 2-up, 1 mortal.
And
But
it's
here's the thing,
anywhere
is
on the
it's
board, right? It's just to be visible.
line of sight to them.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
But it's not a shooting attack, so
he doesn't get any
you can
buffs
shoot
for it.
someone. You can shoot someone that's across the map, even if you're in combat.
Yeah.
So one of my Thunder Tusk that was in combat all the way across the board could still see that other Phoenix that had 1 health on it. Do 1 damage, failed the ward, and that's a Phoenix dead.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And then when the Realmstone cache blew up, was it in your favor?
Yeah, it blew up in the exact opposite direction of where all of his people were.
Ah, that's rough. Yeah, that'll do it. That'll
So
definitely do it.
It blew up and it was right next to my maw pot where my butcher was, and it was right next to where all of his people weren't on his side of the field.
Got it. Okay. All right.
And I won the priority after that. Ran my Noblars, auto-running them to get to the objective over on his side. I used vultures to kill the other Phoenix that was there. And then from there, he didn't have enough damage to be able to hit me off the board anywhere.
Got it.
So it was really the first 2 rounds that were really, really high stakes, trying to figure out what was going on. But he wasn't able to actually kill me enough to be able to knock, to be able to prevent me from killing his Phoenixes.
Okay. All right. And that was pretty much game at that point.
Yeah. At that point, he wasn't able to move, get enough points to overlap me. And eventually, I think it took up to round 5 to actually kill everyone, because they're 4-up ward, but he wasn't able to actually get anything.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty good win, man. Jeremy's a smart guy, and he seems like a pretty fun opponent to play. So what a
He was
good
really
matchup.
good.
Yeah, yeah. What a good matchup and awesome win against that for sure. All right, so post match, how are you thinking after going 4-0? I mean, you have to be kind of nervous about being in the top at this point.
Yeah, I was looking through everything, and the one person I didn't want to fight was Colt, also from Arizona, because
Yeah,
he was playing ogres with a Kragnos
Kragnos.
in
Yeah,
it,
yep,
and Kragnos can do a real big number to my list if it's done right. Just
yep.
one good charge can just blow off at least 1/5 of my entire army's damage potential.
Yeah, I think at this point there were two AZ folks in the 4-0s, right? It was just you and Colt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe it was just me and Colt.
Yep. All right, so we'll get into round 5 then. What a list this was. Walk me through what you
Oh.
were thinking when you saw this.
So it was the exact opposite list of what mine was. And we were both looking at this and we were going, huh, how are we going to fight each other? And I set up the terrain because I was able to choose who went first no matter what. And I made it to where, all right, everything is going to be in one zone, my zone or your zone. It's just going to be a bowling pin alley going forward. And in hindsight, that was probably a mistake on my part, but we still had fun with it.
Yep.
And when we set up, I put all of my monster trucks forward as far as I could, and then he put 2 sets of Noblars up front in like 2-inch intervals away from each other, so I couldn't. It was really, really hard for me just to hit one and then get to the other.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then another 2 to 3 inches behind the second Noblar line was all of his shooting.
Okay. What is so something I've never seen these, right? So I don't know what the Black Powder Buccaneers or the was it Throthgorn?
So
What
they
are
are
those? What are those?
I think they're the War Cry or Underworld. I think they're Underworlds, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And what one of them is they drop down on the field. You put them in the reserve, and then they drop down like the Stormcast.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then when they drop them down, you also add a single Saber Tusk, and I think it's like 3 Noblars on your team as well.
Oh wow. Okay, that's different. Okay.
Yeah. And what the big thing is that you could put that down, and that's like 9 models for taking objectives.
Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, that's actually
And
pretty
you
good.
can,
I'm surprised I don't see more of them.
yeah, and you can spread them out as well to be able to just cover a massive area.
Interesting. Okay.
They don't do a lot of damage, but they have that utility piece with them.
All right. So when I see this list, I'm seeing obviously, we all know the Iron Blasters, right? I would imagine he is zoning this out or screening the heck out of the Iron Blasters. How in the world did you deal with them being monster trucks?
All right, so it ended up I moved everything but the Thunder Tusk forward. So I had 4 stone horns right in front of the Noblars, and I think by the end of all my moving, charging, and piling, he dealt like 23 mortal wounds to me just from Noblar traps. Oh,
That's
man, it was
crazy.
miserable. But it was I had to do crossbow shooting to be able to hit the first line, the aura from the Thunder Tusk on the first line, and then I put all my vultures into the front line, just to whittle down their numbers.
Okay.
And then I took 1 to 2 charges to be able to hit past the first line to be able to get anyone, and then 2 more charges to hit the second line.
Okay.
And about that point, it was just there was like 4 or 5 Noblars left. But I was able to do the 3d6 movement to barely able to hit Noblars and then pile in to the Iron Blasters.
Nice. Okay. Okay, so he left enough room for you to get into there then. That's really nice. That could have been way different had he blocked that.
Oh, he did very well blocking.
Okay.
He went through 40 wounds of just Noblars to be able to kill everything there.
Okay. So would you say it was a big dice game at that point? I mean, it's obviously a dice
Oh,
game, but
oh yeah. Yeah. If I wasn't able to get past those Noblars, and with my attack, I was able to kill 2 of the Iron Blasters with the Frost Lord.
okay, okay,
If I wasn't able to kill those 2 Iron Blasters with that attack, I don't think I would have been able to go much further.
okay.
When it eventually went to his turn, he took the Iron Blaster and he managed to kill the Frost Lord, and wound another Stonehorn to very little health with all of his shooting. And then I believe he took turn, and then he managed to kill another Stonehorn,
Oof.
and then another Stonehorn past that.
Wow. I did.
So
I was gonna say
I
I
was
did.
running out.
Yeah, I was gonna say I did come by at the very end of this, and it looked like it was. I think you had like 1 or 2 models on the board. It was nuts.
Yeah, by the time it was my turn, round 2, I think I had the Husker, Frostlord, and the Thunder Tusk left.
It's crazy. So how did you overcome that?
Um, I went straight for those Iron Blasters, and I managed to kill them with the Husker,
Okay.
and I had to move the Thunder Tusk forward to be able to kill his dropped down ogre. And from there, I managed to double turn him after that. And with that, me being able to double turn him, I managed to be able to kill a lot of the Iron Guts, and I was able to kill his other named Underworld character.
Got it. Okay.
And it went to his turn.
Yep.
Yeah, good.
No, I was gonna say I know. At the very end of this, you guys were getting down to like inches of, like it had to have been really close at that point from what I was seeing.
It went down to just back and forth hitting each other to round 5, where we were both really close, and we were both looking at our grand strategies.
Got
I
it.
believe he said his was as he needs to have more in his zone than me, and then mine was I need to have more in his zone than him.
Yeah.
And he decided to run away with his Iron Gut that was stuck my Husker in combat, and not moved his Butcher just barely into his zone. But it was ultimately a mistake because I was able to charge with the Thunder Tusk, be able to kill the Iron Gut just on the charge itself, and then I auto ran the Butcher to be able to get into his zone.
Got it. And at that point, it was game. I think at that point I saw that it was game at that point.
Yeah, it came down to both of us having our Butchers, and then I had a Husker and a Thunder Tusk with like 3 wounds left.
Crazy game.
And those were the only models on the field.
Crazy game.
Yeah, we were both just in the game, fighting each other. We were both forgetting so many rules that both of us had.
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean that ends your day 2, right? So you went 5-0. I think you just squeaked by because of the draws that happened. I think you just barely squeaked by the shadow round.
Yeah, because I think I was like 4th and 5th, and only the last place had to actually do the shadow round.
Yeah. Yep. Man, what a crazy first 2 days for you. What were your? I know we probably didn't make it any better from the House of Hobbies perspective, because we were just like, oh my gosh, go win it for AZ, go win it for House of Hobbies, which I'm sure didn't help any. But how was your thinking after day 2, like knowing that you were going into top 8?
Oh, I was a rack of nerves. I think I got like an hour of sleep that night, and I was just going through. I was like, all right, what list am I going to play? What list am I going to play? And for some reason, I had it in my mind that I was going to be fighting the Night Haunt player that was in the top 8 if they did the tournament in some way. It was 1 versus 2, 3 versus 4.
Yep.
And that's the way I was thinking about it. So I had all these thoughts of like, all right, I'm going to play Night Haunt. All right. Or what's my strategy for this? And then the day actually came, and then they were doing Swiss cut.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, wait, nope, I'm fighting Zinch. Out of the 2 people I didn't want to fight in this, it was Zinch and it was the shooting list for Gavin, I believe.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, great, I'm going to have to fight the Zinch the first turn.
Yeah, so, we were all kind of a little surprised that it was, I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I think a lot of tournaments, do the Swiss, and we didn't even. When we were sitting at dinner at the end of day 2, I think we all thought you were gonna fight Night Haunt or something similar. So when they did Swiss, I can only imagine it was such a turnaround for you trying to figure out what you were gonna do against Zinch. That being said, you already had fought them, so were you? I mean, granted, it's Caleb, right? Caleb Walters, who is one of the best Zinch players in the world. Were you? Once you found out that you were playing Caleb, were you worried about it? Considering you fought it already?
I didn't know who Caleb was, but um, I was fighting Zinch, and I was like, okay, I know what I should do. Yeah. He made turn and he made the terrain, and I don't know what it was. I was just not paying attention, but he put the terrain really well out there. And if I had to make a change of what I would do now, I think I would have chosen to make him go first instead of me go first, and then play it safe that turn, because I was playing a really, really risky game going through there, and it didn't pay out.
Okay. Yeah. So walk me through this match, because this was crazy. I remember coming by later in the game and like all of your monster trucks were off the field, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on?
Yeah. So the way the terrain was set up is he made a central funnel directly to his incarnate, and then with all of his acolytes and other models behind the incarnate. And so what it was is, if I could slingshot myself off of the incarnate with that 3d6 move, then I would be able to get to the back line. And then once I'm in the back line with all my buffs, then there's nothing he can really do. I would have been able to kill Kairos. I probably would have been able to kill his general first turn, just right off the bat.
Got it.
But the dice weren't with me that day, and when I did the slingshot of 3d6 movement, I got a 4 inches, and I was like, nope, I'm not going to be able to get anywhere for this. And then we moved forward. I wasn't able to. I had positioned myself for a good, like if I had extra turn, if he went and he didn't move forward and I was able to go again, I would be able to move, be able to get more Stonehorns in. But I was able to hold off for a single turn against the Incarnate, but I was just too close to all of his spellcasters, and the spells just ripped my general apart.
Yeah.
And then from there, it was the Incarnate moving forward and being able to slaughter all of my monsters one at a time. He was able to keep one of my Stonehorns in place on one side, but I managed to get one of my Stonehorns on the opposite side of his army to move in, charge into Acolytes, be able to kill another spellcaster, and just barely was unable to get Kairos into the fight as well.
Okay.
But that managed to get me to take his home objective, which was worth four points in that.
Okay.
From there, he went again, one priority, went first, and I was like, all right, I'm not going to be able to win this one, but I'm going to try to push everything back as much as I can. He managed to kill all of my monsters, but I held my Noblars and just hold him back with as much Noblars as possible, throwing the traps everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not going to win, but I'm going to do some Noblar action.
Yeah, Nobbler.
Yeah.
Yeah, those Nobblers are something else, let me tell you. All right, well then, so you ended up losing that match, but what an absolute crazy LVO for you, Cameron. I think it's safe to say from everyone in even AZ, like, we were all super proud that you even got that far. You were playing some of the best people in the world at that point, and man, what a crazy LVO for you, and it's only going to get better, I would imagine. So,
I can't wait for more action, new armies, new action all around.
Yep. Do you have any final thoughts from LVO? Anything that you took away from that? I know you're kind of putting the ogres away for now, and I think you're either going. I think your thought process was either Gits or going back to your roots in the Death faction.
Yeah, I gotta go back to death faction. I don't want to take your gits away from you. I'll let you do gits. So
Yeah.
going back to death.
Yeah, I'm going back to my roots. Good old Gits. Anything you want to take away from LVO though? I mean,
It was super fun. So many people there. Every single person I fought, we were having fun, being able to meet new people.
yeah,
Yeah, I just can't wait to go again.
yeah. I think it's gonna be fun next year. I can't even imagine what the size of LVO next year is gonna be. I mean, it was such a good turnout, and we had such a good community there. I can't even imagine uh, how many people are gonna show up next year. It's gonna be crazy. I guess that's really the conclusion for this. Um, Coming up next, I think we're going to try to do more of these recaps with some of the other members. I'd love to do one with Erica. She played her butt off.
Oh, she did so well.
She did. Yeah.
I'm proud of a lot of the House of Hoppy people.
Yeah, same here. I mean, it was such a good match. I mean, a lot of people, this was their first time ever, right? In fact, I think from Champ's perspective, it was everyone's first time, right? I don't think anyone from House of Hobbies has done this before, right?
Not for the champs, no.
Yeah, I don't.
I've done some GTs, but nothing.
Yeah, from an LVO perspective, this was everyone's first, single player AOS champs. Which, what an amazing, um, amazing route we all took from a House of Hobbies perspective. Like Erica played her butt off for Doc, so I really want to get her on here. I know she's a little nervous about being on on cam, but I'd really like to get her take because I mean she played Doc like crazy. I want to get Jared on here to talk about his Seraphon list because he did pretty decent as well. And then the doubles tournament with Matt and Zach, like they did really well. They stomped round two. Like they did so much. They got so many points for that round two. It's crazy. So I'd like to get them on here as well. So that's kind of what's coming up. If anyone didn't catch all of this, we'll throw it on YouTube, like I said before. But definitely go like all of the social media pages that we have up. It's all at House of Hobbies, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook.
Yeah, and I can't wait to do more of this.
Yeah. I mean, we're the plan is to next couple of weeks is to go through the new tomes. I know a lot of people do the reviews on the tomes, and we're kind of like way behind. But I kind of want to do a quicker, more concise view of the tomes because I mean everyone does such a good job reviewing those in detail. I just want to get our take because that's something that we do all the time, Cameron. We just talk all the time about certain models and artifacts and all of that stuff. So it'd be good to just kind of hashing out some of the new tomes.
Giving my opinions on things.
Yes.
Even when people don't like it.
Hot takes. We'll call those hot takes. But yeah, that's kind of the goal in the future. So again, if there's anyone out there that's watching this that has any ideas or comments, concerns, anything like that they want to throw in for us to make this even better, please let us know, and I'll make sure I watch and read those. But anything else, Cameron? You got anything else?
I think I'm good. It was a fun LVO, and I would do it again.
All right. Well, we'll definitely
improve my mic.
Yeah, we'll definitely we'll be full force for House of Hobbies next year for sure. On that note, we will talk to everyone later and improve Cam's mic. Yeah, exactly. We'll talk later, and until next time.